morning. It's good to have you join us again. Welcome to Newspaper Headlines Review on Agate Television. And you can also listen on Agate Radio 95.5. It's good to have you join us this morning. And without any wasting time, I would like to introduce the gentlemen in the studios with me this morning. I'm talking about Alfana Nkwanum. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
All right, and of course we have our public affairs analyst. I'm talking about, and he is also a media guru. I'm talking about TV Akasi. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you very much, Shido, for having me here once again.
And my name is Shido Taka. To join us on the program this morning, don't forget you can follow us on all our social media handles to join the conversation and also tell us what you think about the issues happening around the country. So we are Agate Radio TV 1 on Facebook. It's Agate TV on YouTube. You can also follow us on TikTok and also join the conversation. Let's start with Agate newspaper this morning. And the banner headline in that paper says, "Nobody can stop me in 2027, Alia boasts." That's in Agate newspaper. Still in Agate newspaper, we have outrage as Alia blocks Obi's visit to IDP's camp. "I have no issue with Alia," says SGF. "Benue is bleeding while you fight for power," APC chieftain tells Alia. Former Bayelsa governor decries Benue Plateau killing, 6 ban on open grazing. And Catholic Church alleges threats on Bishop Anagbe, Father Hila, over testimonies on insecurity. And still from Agate newspaper, group wants Alia to explain non-implementation of state's open grazing prohibition law. Some top stories you can find in Agate newspaper this morning. But the permutations to what is going to happen in 2027 continues. And this one, the banner headline, "Nobody can stop me in 2027. Ali Abo says victory is in his hands." Maybe we should start from that angle.
Well, system of government began in Nigeria in 1979. Horse trading and all of those things have started
quite early,
before 2 years now. This government is just going to hit 2 years on the 29th of next month. And already people are talking about 2027, which is slightly more than 2 years away from now. That's why I said it is the earliest since 1979 that a government in power is already talking about re-electing. Well, as per the headline I have said, but the decision to continue as governor lies in the hands of God and Benue voters. A re-election of a governor or a president is usually a referendum on the stewardship of that leader in his first term, if he's at all going to get a second term.
Right.
So you do not, it's not in your power. And since Benue State was created, I'm not saying this because I worked and I still work with Chief Samuel Otom, the immediate past governor. He, by the records available, was the only person who overwhelmingly won his second term. Benue people wanted him to continue, and even with the interference, with the threats and everything that came from Abuja, what was tagged then as federal might, and even forcing the election to be inconclusive, and then rerun election conducted on another date. I mean, in some parts of the state, Governor Otom extended his lead over his opponent. So he is on record to have scored the highest number of votes for any governor in Benue State since the state was created for second term. No one has beaten that record. So because Benue people genuinely wanted him to continue because of what he was doing for them, we know that Apereku had a tough time getting a second term. Adasu didn't complete even one term, so we can't say. And Governor Akume had a tough time as well with his challenger, the late Wantare Paul Nongo, in 2003. And Governor Gabriel Suswam had a tougher time against his challenger, Professor Steve Uba, the Ugbanyosho changing fame and all of the tsunami that came that time. Now, Otom became the first person to overwhelmingly win, even when the federal government was against him. So for His Excellency Governor Alia to be saying this, I don't know. It is up to Benue people to decide whether he continues. And that's why I said it's usually a referendum of what you have done in your first term. And if the people say you are not continuing, and if God says you are not continuing, so I don't think anybody should be boasting that I have. I've been telling people that well, they have to wait for 8 years. I'm left with just 6 years. So that means you have already concluded that you must continue. Well, he has his freedom of speech. He is a governor. He has all the right to say what he has said. So I take nothing away from his statement.
All right, just like you said, maybe we just have to wait for 2027
absolutely,
to find out what exactly happens. But one story that is actually everywhere on this paper is also the issue of the happenings in Benue and Plateau State. So the former Bayelsa governor decries Benue Plateau killing, 6 ban on open grazing. On one hand, we also have this one that says group wants earlier to explain non-implementation of state's open grazing prohibition law. So a lot of people are calling for, stopping open grazing in these states where, the killings are happening. And of course, we have the law here in Benue and of course the implementation of the law. What's your take on this?
Well, I spoke about this yesterday on another platform. And
yes.
The contention here is this government has been in persistent denial of the killings until recently that they started the heat on them became unbearable, because Benue people have been saying, why are you saying our people are not being killed? Because the government was rather interested in letting the rest of Nigeria know that the killings that happened in the previous administration are no longer happening now. Right. And we listened to His Excellency the Governor say that many times at different fora, that in those days they used to report that 1,000 people are killed here, 200 people are killed here, but now, since he took over, those killings have stopped. Meanwhile, the killings were going on, and even worse now. So you saw what happened in Ukum last week. He had to go there, and for the first time he announced by himself that more than 50 people, I think 56 people, were killed. But the reports we got from other sources, from people from those areas, said more than that. But even the government later came to confirm that 72 people have been killed. So you see, the thing with this insecurity thing is that you do not need to suppress the information, because it is only when you talk about it, you go to the federal government, the commander-in-chief is in Abuja, and let him know that this is the problem you have in your state. That's the only time the federal government will know that you have a challenge.
Right.
But if you persistently suppress the information, tell the rest of Nigeria that, well, we will have skirmishes in Benue, skirmishes, very little mild incidents here and there. That's what it means. So this government was continuously denying the killings, and so it was difficult for the president to act.
Right.
But perhaps now that they have seen that the pressure is mounting on them, and the people are saying, why are you not talking about it? They are beginning to talk about it. So maybe that's the only time that help will come. Because Abuja does not give manna. Abuja does not give, it's not Father Christmas. That the governor says there is no problem in my state, then Abuja will insist on going to, to deploy troops there. Problem. But you see, insecurity is everybody's challenge. So we cannot play politics with it. And that's why some of us ask the government to stop playing politics. when the government accused National Assembly members of writing a letter to the Nigeria border to invite Fulani people to come to Benue, that was not a good statement to make, coming from the state government, coming from the governor himself. You know, because that was playing politics with it. When you play politics, because when the invaders hear that kind of thing, they will love to hear it, because if the chief executive is saying, well, nothing is happening, these are the people who are causing problem. The National Assembly members are here to help you. If the governor, for instance, invite them to accompany him to meet with the service chiefs in Abuja, or even meet with Mr. President, the SGF, Senator George Akume, who himself is a former governor of the state, is in Abuja. And I believe that if His Excellency Governor Alia meets with the Senator George Akume, meets with the senators and the other National Assembly members, and they go visit Mr. President as a delegation, the presidency will see the weight of such a visit and act appropriately. That's how it's done. But when you stand here and say there are no killings, that what you are hearing are just skirmishes, you know, the Abuja people will say, okay, well, no, Benue has no problem. But the governor of Plateau cried out. He said his people were being killed and are still being killed. And Mr. President, even as he was on holiday, directed security chiefs, the service chiefs, to move in immediately and stop what is going on in Plateau. That is when a state gets help. So, but I wish His Excellency the Governor well. I believe he's beginning to see that, to take the land. So when you play politics with it, they succeed. Gather your people, rally everybody around, get intelligence from the local community, the rural communities. Let everybody feed information into the state security apparatuses to help the government to support security agencies. I listened to Daniel Bwala who is a spokesperson for Mr. President yesterday on one platform on the national television, and he said state governors are taking as much as 3 billion now monthly as security votes. I am quoting the presidential spokesperson. I'm not the one who said it. He said governors of the state in the Tinubu era are taking as much as 2 billion, 3 billion monthly as security votes. So the issue of insecurity sits squarely on their table, that they are supposed to buy security equipment, buy security vehicles, and support security agencies to protect their people. But he said in many cases, some of them give peanuts to the security agencies, like 20 million, 10 million. What can that do? If you are the commissioner of police, for instance, or you are the head of the military, or head of Operation Wild Stroke, which headquarters is in Makurdi, and the governor gives you 5 million or 6, 7 million, you can't do anything with that. So Bwala said governors have a lot of money at their disposal in terms of security. So they should use that money to support security agencies which are operating in their states to protect their people.
All right. So much talk about security, and of course, the Agate newspaper is also full of stories about what is happening in Benue State. Everybody's talking about it, and I love the fact you said that security is everybody's business.
Absolutely.
And we are also aware that there was the coming together of stakeholders in Benue to talk about these issues yesterday. What do you think this means for
the meeting happened?
That's right.
And I'm happy that meeting took place. I believe that the meeting was made up of very experienced former senators were there, former ministers were there, present senators and the House of Reps members were there. The governor himself was there. The Toti presided. So I believe that meeting will produce good results. And because we don't want this to continue to happen,
right,
the killings to continue to happen. So whichever way, whatever can be done. And that was what many of us were saying, that this meeting should have happened earlier than now, because you need everyone on the table to be around the table to discuss security and help the government to solve the problems.
Right.
Because when the herdsmen come, they don't look at political parties. Because, by the way, Politicians do not write their names on their foreheads.
Exactly.
So when they don't come for APC, they don't come for PDP, they don't come for Labour or any other political party. They come to kill. And when they kill, they don't ask, are you a PDP or an APC person? So we have to separate politics from the issue of security. So I'm happy that meeting took place, and I believe it with eyes closed.
That's right.
That's my prayer.
The Punch newspaper, and it comes with a banner headline: Tinubu meets service chiefs over rising killings. And it has 1, 2, 3 riders, which says number 1 says President returns from France, UK. And it says presidency blames governors for worsening insecurity. And then protest in Jos. Okay, that's the banner headline. We have above the nameplate: electricity failures inflate manufacturers, generator bill to 1 trillion naira. And okay,
All right, so let's continue from the Punch newspaper. Electricity failures inflate manufacturers' generator bill of 1 trillion naira, which Fana has already taken there. And then Jakba, federal government targets ghost workers in fresh payroll seekers. Tinubu world leaders mourn as Pope Francis dies at 88. I didn't interfere in Alaafin election, says Makinde. And Lagos launches probe as building collapse, deaths hit 7. And then Rivers, Fubara's backers go spiritual. It has gotten to a spiritual level. Hey, Rivers. Okay, but Tinubu to meet service chiefs over rising killings. That's the banner headline. President returns from France, UK. Presidency blames governors for worsening insecurity and then protesting just. I think the blame...
The president should also remember, and I said, yes, he inherited. He didn't do much. At least we in Benwell's president that was supposed to be for everybody. So President Tinubu inherited the challenge. He is trying, but in looking at the amount, the volume of money at their disposal. But thank God Mr. President is back, and I'm happy he's meeting with the service chiefs in that meeting. That Nigeria should declare war against these terrorists who are giving Nigerians sleepless nights. With our government, the commander-in-chief of this nation should declare war against these people who are causing problems for Nigerians. And the governors have their own part to play, which I have spoken elaborately about.
All right.
But the commander-in-chief is in Abuja, so he should lead from the front, take the front seat, and look at the support of the governors and local government chairmen and traditional rulers in whose domains many of the terrorists exist, because the terrorists do not come from heaven. They don't come from the skies. They are here. So, and they are known. In the communities where they live, many of them are known. Even though some of the armed herdsmen many of them come from outside. But if we collaborate, and that's why it is very important that every governor should seek help, should galvanize people to secure their territories. So, good to see Mr. President is back, and we expect to see a better protected Nigeria going forward.
All right, still speaking about this issue, or few issues for me there. Number 1, we had some groups that came up. They were not as dangerous as what we have right now. The headers going around our communities. I mean, it's almost everywhere in the country. You know, some are being called hunters, so many names. And then groups came up that were not as dangerous as these, and they were declared terrorist organizations. That's 1. And then number 2, the issue of state policing was identified as one way to, help tame the tide of insecurity in communities. And the FEC meeting that is to be convened this Thursday, I understand that issue also is out of the agenda completely.
You mean state police?
Yeah, the issue of state policing, that discussion is out of the agenda completely. It's not going to be discussed on that day, as we saw. So, Where do you see that these meetings without these critical issues will still produce ways, or is just the same back and forth that we've been going?
Well, there is no country anywhere in the world that is free from insecurity. Now, it is what you make of it that matters. As we continue to wait for state police, I am an advocate of state police. And I'm happy that the previous government, which I had the privilege of serving in, took steps towards that. And Governor Tom was very loud about state police. He wanted it. And at a point, he even called on the federal government to license eligible Nigerians, to license Nigerians of who are trustworthy, credible people who can be allowed to own arms and defend themselves and other people. So state policing is the way forward. Nigeria should begin to look towards that. People express the fear that if police states are allowed to control, to own their security agencies, then governors will use them against political opponents. But even without that, don't governors have control of commissioners of police? When you are posted to a state as a commissioner of police, the first person you report to is the governor. And he's the one who provides the logistics for you to succeed. So what is the difference? Now, we have to, but before we get that, before we get state police, what can be done now should be done. We can't continue waiting for state police. Every state has a command of police, which is headed by the commissioner of police with and others. So we have to do what we should do. I have spoken about states mobilizing intelligence. When suspicious people are seen in a community, members of that community should inform relevant agencies and even traditional rulers, who will relay that information to the security agencies and even the government. That is how to quickly get information to relevant. But why we talk about government is that government is the one that controls the resources. So if you do not mobilize those resources to tackle insecurity, then your efforts will be in vain. I mean, you would have even done nothing. So that's why we say you have security votes. Utilize those security votes to support in every community as far as information is concerned with security agencies, relate with traditional rulers, relate with every other person, and have informants who will give intelligence to security agencies, timely information to help the government, to help the security agencies to combat insecurity.
Interesting. And we'll take a quick break right now on Agate Newspaper Headlines Review. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more to talk about in the Punch newspaper and other papers this morning.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Televisions.
Big shout out to Agate Television, Sky's your limit.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Television, one of the best in the whole city of Makurdi. Peace.
Hello, my people. Keep watching Agate Television. Watch out for more.
Agate Television, we love you.
Special shout out to Agate Television.
Agate Television, you're the best. Shout out, peace.
Shout out to Agate Television. I love you. You're the best.
Best channel, all the fun, the live shows, the best of the best you can get.
Agate TV, one of the best rising televisions in North Central Nigeria, which everybody should actually look out for.
have Fanan Kwano. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, still, and of course, our analyst still in the house, David Akasi. It's good to also have you still here.
Thank you.
All right, before the break, we were trying to look at what's happening in Punch newspaper this morning. Fanan.
All right, we're going to combine two stories here and talk about as Jakba federal government targets ghost workers in fresh payroll audit, and the UK records 22,000 Nigerian asylum seekers. So it does appear that everyone is running away. So
the people will always move, and you know, in those days we had other African nationals coming to Nigeria, and so perhaps it is time Nigeria takes a deep breath, returns to the drawing board, and does something that will entice other Africans to look at Nigeria as a destination, as a place to be, like it happened in the 70s and 80s, and even parts of the early 90s. Well, maybe not much of the 90s, when the structural adjustment program was introduced by the Babangida administration. That's when Nigeria's economy began to get quite bad, and so here we are today. The problem started some years ago, and it has got to a point where some Nigerians can no longer stand it, and they are looking for greener pasture. So it is a challenge. President Tinubu knew before he aspired, so we can't say enough, and he too cannot say we are saying too much. He knew the problem exactly what it was. He was very close to the previous government. He was the leader of the ruling party, and most of the ideologies, most of the campaign promises were made by him in 2014, 2015, which brought in President Buhari, who came and, permit me to use the word, messed up the economy of this country with a lot of borrowings, a lot of missteps that plunged the economy of this country to where it is now. So the president has his job cut for him, and he must do it. Accountant, he is an economist by that extension, so he knows the language, he knows what it takes. So if he cannot do it, then I want to measure up to another country, Lagos. So he knows the dynamics, so he must succeed.
Right.
He has 2 more years to go. We expect that a lot of positive changes are made to make Nigerians breathe. Nigerians deserve to breathe better.
Definitely.
You know.
All right, maybe we should re-emphasize again that as we try to jackpot, we should be very careful. Safety first.
That's
because
right.
Some persons have taken advantage of that to engage into
Exploit
human trafficking,
yes,
which is
exploit
very
people.
bad, especially to some of these neighboring African countries. So if you are going out on any basis, on any promise, know that you are following the right route and your safety is prioritized. And then lastly, on a solemn note, Tinubu world leaders mourn as Pope Francis dies at 88. That was the sad news we received yesterday morning. As
quite a sad one, and for me as a Catholic, it's so much pain. And not just being a Catholic, Pope Francis has been one of the world leaders, a religious one. But he has impacted. So I decided to script a tribute for him. Permit me 1 minute to go through it.
Yeah.
I've titled Pope Francis, a good man has gone home. Today we bid farewell to a man whose gentle spirit and kindness touched the hearts of millions around the world, Pope Francis. With his hum and compassion, his presence was a soothing balm in times of turmoil. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, kindness can light the way. Pope Francis was more than a spiritual leader. He was a friend to the vulnerable, a champion for the oppressed, and a voice for the voiceless. His words carried the warmth of genuine concern, urging us to see each person as a beloved child of God. His life was a testimony of humility, reminding us that greatness lies in service, not status. Pope Francis had a unique gift for making everyone feel seen and valued, whether we shared his faith or simply needed a reminder of our shared humanity. As we say goodbye, let us carry forward his message of hope and compassion. Though he may have left this earthly home, his spirit lives on in the love we share and the kindness we show one another. Rest peacefully, Pope Francis. Thank you for showing us how to live with heart and humility.
Yeah.
That's my personal tribute to the late Pope, who did so much for the children of God.
Yes, that's complete, because the report we had yesterday, that's what many Catholic and non-Catholics were saying of the Pope, and then we thank him for that, and then we do hope that God will raise more of such leaders that will take us to the promised land.
Amen.
So over to Shido.
Thank you so much, Fanen. Let's move to Vanguard newspaper this morning. And Vanguard newspaper, killings, governor says states under siege, claim reserves, foreigners taken over. And the rider says as death toll in Good Friday's headers attack in Benue rises to 72. Protests rocks plateau over incessant killings. Danjuma's call for self-defense may lead to anarchy, says Jigawa's governor. And still from Vanguard newspaper this morning, Unity colleges boil over illegal levies, admission, racketeering. So much happening in Unity colleges. And the rider says parents allege paying 600,000 naira for admission. PTA leaders disregard government's directive, increase levies. And then PTA, not another administrative structure in schools, says minister. And still in Vanguard newspaper this morning, APC National Assembly working to ensure Nigerians in diaspora vote, Ganduje. And federal government refutes claims of agreed concession period for Enugu Airport. We have a bit of sports in Vanguard this morning. Renamed National Stadium in Lagos after Chukwu says stakeholders, and the story on. But let's start. We've talked so much about insecurity. This lay down that story for us to just look at before we proceed. Danjuma's call for self-defense may lead to anarchy, says Jigawa's governor. So that call looks a bit much for some of us, right?
Yes, he is a general.
Yes.
I don't have the information that he has. He was a former chief of army staff,
right,
former chief of defense staff, and so he knows many things I do not know. If not, I would have faulted also. I would have faulted a part of that call. Yeah. What I would suggest is states pick up arms, then criminality will also creep in. So the self-defense should be coordinated, and that's why I said the previous government started it. You have to raise vigilante, get people who will be trained in combat, go to war. Some people don't even know how to handle the gun.
Right.
So you need to have people who will be trained in combat for them to be able to stand up to the invaders when they come. They are taken over by it, and that's why I say it should, and that's why I know where that is now. The community volunteer guards, it is also going into combat to stop continued with that trajectory. I believe we will be somewhere now. So I will advise the current government to dust the act that
yes,
established the. Yes, they brought in the another security outfit. I don't know. I don't know what they are doing. I don't know where they are. 100 security vehicles were launched on that day in December, the day the new outfit was launched. I have never sighted any of those patrol vehicles anywhere in the state. And those security people, the what do they call them? The Anyamyo. I've never seen them anywhere. So we need to be sincere about issues of security, and there has to be seriousness on the part of government. That now the governor has admitted that the state is under siege, which is true, which is what has been happening since last year. Now, if he had said this earlier on, by now we wouldn't be here. We'll be talking about what has been achieved in combating this menace that has come upon Benue State. So, but truly Benue is under siege. What are you doing with it? You can only treat an ailment if you know you have an ailment, and the government of Benue State has admitted that the state is sick as far as security is concerned. The next step is to seek medication, and I expect them to move quickly and don't politicize it. Be sincere. Get everybody on board to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking about, he did talk about coordinated or self-help, or coordinated, and I like to point us, yes, I like to point us to states, that have also tried that. Ondo State have what they call Operation Amotekun, and I think Chukuma Soludo of Anambra State has recently, launched local security, and these people are achieving great feats. So I think if they are well coordinated, as he said, it's going to,
the word
coordinated is going to help. If not, we are going to be afraid, whereby some youths, after they live with arms, and then they become an issue to the community at large.
All right. Okay, so you want to react to that?
Well, no, yeah.
So the allegations are flying all around, and then it's boiling over illegal levies and admission racketeering. So parents allege paying, and then there's also what is happening in these colleges is a cause for concern.
Yes. And you see, the problem with this country, one of the problems is corruption. One of the major problems is corruption. How does a parent or parents take their minor, their teenager whom they want to enroll in a unity college? You are paying to get your child into a unity college. Now, the child knows that he or she did not merit him or her into that college. You have planted a seed of corruption right from day one in that child. And tomorrow, that child goes to the university, graduates and gets a job. And perhaps is a CEO, either in the public or private sector. Do you expect that person to be a patriotic Nigerian and an incorruptible Nigerian? No. Because you sowed the seed of corruption in the mind of that child right from when he was or she was a teenager. This is quite unfortunate, but it's happening. So, and the amazing thing is that some of these parents went through the best standards of education.
Right.
They passed through high standards of grooming and training to get to where they are today. But now they tend to see that until they bribe their way into anything, until they corrupt the system, they can't get any, until who you know, or how deep is your pocket. This is sad, and I expect that this trend will stop.
All right. Before we move away from Vanguard newspaper, let's just touch on the story. APC National Assembly working to. Are we going to see a situation where Nigerians who in diaspora?
You see, we like to borrow things a lot. We like to borrow from the Western world, but we don't. Many times we do not know what to do to make of what we borrow. How many Nigerians at home are voting? How many Nigerians? Look at since 1999.
Right.
Nigeria is almost 300, if not already more than 300 people. And eligible, those who are above 18 are in huge numbers. They should be more in number. But how many people vote? How many people have the PVC? How many? Look at the last election, 2023. How many millions of people voted? In one state, a state of, for instance, in Benue State, we have more than 7 million people.
All right.
But what was the result? How many people? Less than 1 million voted. I think about 600 or 500 and something voted in the entire state of 23 local government areas, making up more than 700 people. So what are we doing with that? What are the authorities doing to get Nigerians at home here to vote, to get the permanent voter card and vote in the next election? But we are more interested in getting people abroad to vote, because we want to be seen to, and you know that can be a big project for someone else.
Yes, exactly.
Someone will cash out of that project hugely, bigly, you know, because when we want, you know, big name stuff, before you know it, someone gives the federal government a bill of 200 billion
yeah.
naira as what we make them to get Nigerians abroad to vote. So why not? You would see that the whole discussion now will be tilted towards getting Nigerians in the diaspora to vote. Meanwhile, we are ignoring those who are here, who have not, the apathy among Nigerian voters is increasing. Look at local government elections. Many people don't go out to vote.
All right.
Look at elections, general elections. Not many people go out. What are we doing to step up the interest in Nigerians to vote? That is the starting point. And I hope that our National Assembly should look into that and get the executive arm of government at the state and the federal level and even the local government level to mobilize Nigerians. But how do you get Nigerians interested in voting? It's when the elections are credible. When INEC portal does not develop a glitch,
All right.
and Nigerians are left wondering what is going on at the collection center, the presidential collection center, and the state collection centers. So that is the only time you get Nigerians interested in the system, and then there is zero corruption. I mean, there is reduced corruption in the public sector.
Okay, up next, I saw a story here which I wanted us to talk about, but we're totally out of time, so we head to sports. If not, I was going to mention a story in the Daily Trust newspaper which says Kano, Katsina, Jigawa get 2-hour power supply daily, and I was going to merge it with a story in the Guardian newspaper which says manufacturers grown as alternative energy gaps 1.1 trillion in 1 year. You know, the issue of power is still a concern, but we aren't going to talk about that because of lack of time. We'll head straight to sports as we look at...
But let me quickly say that,
okay.
I envy Jigawa. This is Jigawa and who?
We have Jigawa, Katsina,
Jigawa and
Kano.
Katsina, I think they are luckier. Because at least they are, so if they are seeing 2 hours of light a day for making
sports.
So locked in, and that's the banner headline on the Sports Extra. We have Iwobi focused after Fulham heroics after winning spirituality on Elanga Reuse transfer. But let's start with the banner headline. Locked in, 7 Nigerian athletes confirmed 2025 champion.
The Nigerian sports people are very patriotic. They are very patriotic. The problem has always been the authorities, sports authorities. Sometimes these athletes get to a championship without jerseys and without boots, without any allowances. Yet you expect them to win gold when preparations are shoddy. Preparations are not made until the tournament kicks off. That's where the problem has always been. But you find out that the government releases the money, and those who are supposed to do what can make for good preparation don't do it until Nigeria is embarrassed. Sometimes our athletes go to a championship with other countries, and you find that the camp of Nigeria lacks many things.
Right.
So I will encourage our sports authorities to do better. Nigeria has money, plenty money. What remains is utilization.
All right.
What remains is to tackle corruption in the public sector, so that people, appropriation is made for things. Use those things. Utilize the money for what it is meant.
Okay, I wish I can let you go on and on today. And of course, I'd like to thank you so much, Fani Akwano. It's been a great time with you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching Agate Newspaper Headlines Review. We'll be back next Tuesday, same time, same station, Agate Television. And don't forget to follow the conversation and join us. Agate Radio TV 1 on Facebook. It's Agate TV on YouTube. Agate Radio TV, www.agateradiotv.com. You can also go check out more stories there. Thank you for watching. My name is Shido Taka. Do have a wonderful day. Good morning.